Hi everyone, today we're going to talk about how harmonization affects consumers like you and me and how this actually affects homeowners who are currently not owning harmonized projects. After all these harmonized projects get completed, how that affects your property price. So stay tuned to the end of this video. Hi everyone, I'm Nicholas. I am a realtor, 8 years in the industry, and I've personally transacted 2 new launches in my lifetime, and my current purchase is actually a harmonized project at Lentor Central. So this is definitely a topic that I'm very familiar with, and I'm very happy, very excited to share with you our findings for today.
Hi everyone, I'm Lauren, and just like Nick, I myself also started my property search journey and also helped a lot of my clients deep dive into harmonization and layout that I personally am super passionate about because it can literally translate into your profitability when you exit next time.
Okay, so let's get right into it. Wow, Lauren, so the last month you were quite busy, right? Can you tell us more about it?
Yes, so as you can see on the news, last month there are 4 new launches. They launched back to back. Firstly, we started off with Sky Holland, and it's almost sold out on day one, right? Then we have Penrith and Faber. Penrith is at Queenstown and Faber is at Faber Walk. And then the last one would be at Zion Grand. And yes, I have been very busy serving my clients and helping them selecting a units, but it's not easy because almost all these are oversubscribed and ultimately it boils down to our ballot number. But fortunately, congrats to my clients, they managed to get their units in all, I would say, 3 out of 4 of the new launches.
And they are very, very hot new launches.
Yes.
And why we include this is because all these launches are also harmonized projects.
Right.
And that's why they are deeply relevant. We want to share, why are all these people chonging to the show flat, hoping they can get a choice unit. So let's deep dive into this. Why is everyone chonging to the market right now? And one key reason is the interest rate. So Lauren, you are ex-mortgage broker, right? Can you tell us more about this?
Yes, I was an ex-mortgage banker of 8 years before I come into this industry, and there is a huge drop in the SORA market compared to just 1 year ago back in 2024.
Yeah.
So back in 2024, 3-month SORA, which is our floating rate to get our home loan interest rates, right, was at 3.25. But just a few days ago, on 25th of November this year, it has dropped significantly down to 1.24, reduced by 2%. And why do these affect people's so-called decision-making, whether or not to enter the market? Let's take a look. If they were to purchase a 1.7 million property and basing on the previous 3.55 interest rates, their monthly installment translates to 5.761 thousand per month. And now, based on today's interest rate at 1.54, their monthly installments is at 4,425. It gives them a huge savings of up to 1,003 per month. And of course, the interest rates that we are seeing here, do take note of banks will always add on a spread to the current floating rate to determine your overall interest rates. And that's why we are looking at 3.55 and 1.54 last year and this year.
So we want to also discuss when there's low interest rate, right? How does it affect prices? So maybe let's look into during the COVID times. So COVID times interest rate, the purple line, this is your interest rate. It has dropped during COVID times. And we have seen that as interest rate is very, very low, property prices grow steadily. So the dark blue line is your new launch average PSF. And that makes sense because as Lauren just mentioned, just 1 year of difference, 2% interest difference, more people can afford all these mortgages. And what happens to the market? People chong into the show flat, buy, and that drives up property prices. That makes a lot of sense. So where are we now? We are at this juncture where interest rate is still steadily dropping. And in fact, next year, we are still expecting some rate cuts, right? And the property prices have just started to increase. And honestly, this might seem like the best time to enter. Why? Because rather than waiting for the interest rate to bottom out here, right? At this point, maybe property prices are already here. And then if you wait out longer, perhaps you need to pay much, much higher price, and that may not make as much sense. That's why people are thinking of just coming to the market right now. Since you are going for progressive payments, your interest payment is very marginal, very negligible. Actually, it makes much more sense to come in, especially if you're buying a new launch. Then let's talk about the latest launches in the last 2 quarters of 2025. So these are the popular launches that we just mentioned, including Springleaf Residence. These are the land bid prices I've included here, and also the average launch PSF over here. Why are we including this? Is because we want to find out, are these prices cheap or expensive? But to find out about this, we need to find out, what is going to be launched next year. So firstly, we have Lorong Chuan. This is the second land plot after Trump Park. It was launched. The PSF PPR, the purchase price is about 1,003 per square foot per plot ratio. And according to the news, that would translate to about 2,009 to 3,000 per square foot. And honestly, this is very high.
For OCR, I mean, looking back at the prices on the previous launches, right, we see RCR pricing at like 2,008 and 3,000 for even CCR. And now, knowing that future pricing in OCR is going to launch between 2,000 to 3,000, of course, it's very high.
Very scary. In fact, this purchase price is even higher than what we saw at Sky Holland. We're going to expect $2,009 to $3,000 per square foot. Of course, Lone Chuan is, some people would say that it's city fringe because it's quite a nice neighborhood, but technically speaking, it's still considered outside central region. Nice neighborhood, don't get us wrong. It's just that you're going to pay River Valley prices for Lone Chuan. Is it worth it? And I think that's why people feel that, wow, they should chung to the show flat today. Okay, now I got a story. Hear me out, it's very, very interesting. So Bayshore, very popular spot because why? It's beside MRT station. And honestly, this example, if you watch our previous videos, we have talked about this many, many times. It's a very popular spot. That's why 8 developers came in to bid. So Lauren, let me ask you, when all these developers, they want to prepare all these land bids, these are closed biddings, meaning each developer doesn't know what the other developers are bidding. And they have to put in a lot of effort to calculate the bid, what's the tender and everything. Do you think all 8 of them are genuine bidders?
Of course.
Because they need to put in so much effort to bid. And it's very sad. I mean, for Sim Lian, they're the last one. They bid at 1,000 per square foot PPR. Probably this is a price they feel that is fair due to whatever market sentiment they have. But honestly, the first and second bidder, they are very close. 1,388 per square foot per plot ratio, 1,377. So I would say actually Sing Hai Yi did very well. Because they only bidded just slightly above Sing Holdings. But the key thing is this, there can only be one winner in every land tender. And all 7 of them will not. They will just go back and then probably be disappointed they don't get the land. But what happens to them? In a market where it's so vibrant, launch after launch, you have 80-90% sale. Do you think developers will feel FOMO?
Definitely. And of course, if they need to replenish their land banks, then they will become even more FOMO.
More aggressive than land bid. So that's why I want to highlight Sim Lian. It's the last position, 1,000 per square foot per plot ratio. Do note that the date is March 19, 2025. So imagine this, you are representative in charge of the land tender process of Sim Lian. You go back, your boss asks you, hey, why you bid so low? We never get the land. Do you feel a lot of pressure from your boss? Possibly. That's why the next land tender, July 30th, 2025, Jose, Sim Lian number 1. Because now the rep very stressful. But number 1, at what price? 1,004 per square foot per plot ratio. This is 22% higher than the next bid. Do you think that person who bid also very stressed? Wow, very stressed. Because why? Probably they overbid by too much. 22%. 22% could be your first buyer, first owner, second owner kind of margin, kind of price there. In this kind of land tender process, to bid 22% higher, honestly, very, very scary. And 1,004 per square foot per plot ratio. Sky Holland, which is very near Holland MRT, how much they bid only? They bid 1,002 and that was launched this year. This Sim Lian one, which is at Holland, it's not beside MRT, it's beside Columbarium, 1,004 per square foot per plot ratio. So honestly, wow, I think this one's scary. What do you think, Lauren?
They definitely bidded at quite a high price. It's almost close to 200 higher than the one at Holland. Sky at Holland is right beside. It is more of a central Holland kind of location. But then again, if I may bring in another example last time where in Grand Diamond, Sing Hai Yi also bidded Grand Diamond at a significantly higher price compared to the second bidder. Okay. And of course, it translates to higher selling price. But ultimately, people still buy.
So our concern is, if consumers continue to wait, this will be a reality. Because why? Land prices is often the most expensive cost to a developer.
Right.
If they bid so much higher, right, how can they sell cheap to consumers? It's almost not possible. Even, I think at this point, if they want to be realistic in selling, possibly they need to squeeze their margins. They probably can't earn so much in order to sell reasonably well. But can they sell very cheap? Well, I think quite difficult. Perhaps they feel that next year the market can achieve this kind of prices. One thing's for sure, which is people who bought Sky Holland, Jose, you see this one purchased so much higher and you're only just about 1 to 2 years apart. It's a good thing for Sky Holland, not so great for the Sim Lian buyers next time. So, since all these land parcels, these are all harmonized projects, let's find out whether harmonized projects really benefit consumers or not.
I would think that harmonized project is better. You don't have to pay for icon legends and the layout is generally more efficient and functional.
I'm glad you mentioned that. So today we have this example of Zion Grand and Riviere, which is a very recent case study that we have because Zion Grand was just launch. And this is in the River Valley Havelock area. Zion Grand is the Harmonized project over here. And Riviere is your old Zouk land plot at Yakim Street there. This is a non-harmonized project where your aircon ledge is considered part of a GFA. We have a very nice breakdown over here. Usable space for Riviere is about 8 square meters bigger than Zion Grand. So layout aside, I feel that both layouts are reasonably well in the sense that your common bedrooms all can fit queen size bed at least. Of course, Riviere's common bedroom is a bit better because you can put queen plus 2 side table. I think that is great. But personally, I do really like the living setup in Zion Grand because it's a landscape layout. So imagine this, you step in, it's a landscape layout. If you buy a very high floor, a lot of ambient lighting can come in. So I do like landscape layout a lot. In fact, my Lentor Central purchase is also a landscape layout. Riviere is lacking on that for now. So the key thing is this, Lauren. If Riviere is 8 square meters bigger, which one will you choose for a 3-bedroom?
I will still go for the bigger one.
Bigger, because more usable space, your common bedroom is bigger. But what if I tell you, it's bigger, but you need to pay $476,000 more for that 8 square meters.
Wow.
Same floor level. And this is done 2024, this is done this year, just last month.
476,000 is very significant, Zion Grand makes more sense now. Yeah,
and I think that is why so many consumers see this and they rush in the show flat. Because harmonization, in a lot of cases, developers are able to sell you at a cheaper price because they are forced to be more efficient in terms of the floor plan. Granted, the PSF may not be as competitive, so we cannot use PSF to compare. You compare the 2 floor plans, you compare the individual sizes, the breakdown, and you look at the quantum. Wow, for the same floor level, almost similar locations, almost $500,000 of savings. That is really great. And I think harmonization really gives you an opportunity where you can turn back in time or turn back few years back in time. More efficient space and still cheaper. Reputable developers are more, just CDL. But let's find out, is this always the case? So Lauren, can you share with us in this example?
Okay, so another example that between harmonized and non-harmonized that I have over here would be Grand Diamond versus Emerald of Katong, EOK. For Grand Diamond, it was launched much earlier and it is a non-harmonized project. Launched back in 2021, and EOK launched just last year, and it was one of the first harmonized project in the whole of D15. So actually, if you were to look at the layout of these 3 bedders side by side, can you tell a lot of difference?
Not really.
Not really. You look at the layout, like they have a tuck-in kitchen, one have a store, the other one have a study, and you also have 3 proper bedrooms, and their living room shape is almost about the same, correct? Okay, so let's take a look at the selling price at that point in time, So back in 2024, last November, do you remember there was a period of time, just like a few months ago, a lot of launches together, and the market is so hot, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So EOK launched at 2.4 million for their 3-bedder, the exact layout that I have shown you previously. And at the same time, in 2024, Grand Diamond is also selling, but it is their post launches, meaning to say you can just walk into the show flat and you are able to select a unit. You don't have to put a check and get a ballot number, unlike EOK at that point in time. So back in 2024, people are still buying Grand Diamond's unit, but it's at a higher price of 2.6 million to 2.7 million. Granted that the size of this 3-bedder is at 1,098 compared to 990, but just now we have seen, right, there's not much difference in the layout. So in this case, you can actually buy close to 300k cheaper in a harmonized project in EOK. Which one would you go for?
EOK.
EOK, right?
Still newer some more.
Yeah, it's newer, and next time when these two were to be out in the market, for buyers standing inside Grand Diamond 1098 and standing inside EOK 990, I don't think they can see much of a difference.
I don't think they can.
Yeah. That is the beauty of Harmonized. Because of how the developers are now building the layouts more efficiently and the functionality is still there. Then my next point would be, moving forward, all is going to be Harmonized, right?
Yeah.
And anything also can buy because all Harmonized and Harmonized is good, ma.
I think so leh.
You think
it
so?
It seems like it leh.
You think so? Okay, let's take a look at another example. Okay, EOK, like what I've mentioned, is Harmonized, and back then there is another project, Tembusu Grand, also in D15. Launched, they're just side by side, very close to each other. There are 2-bedder in Tembusu Grand 667, non-harmonized, meaning to say aircon ledge and everything is included. This is their 2-bedder layout. And this is their 2-bedder layout for EOK, which is harmonized. So at one glance, Tembusu Grand's layout is slightly more superior because of the tuck-in kitchen, right? For a 2-bedder, it's very hard to find a tuck-in kitchen at that point in time. Let's take a look at the numbers. When EOK launched back in 2024, that was a period whereby, this is the first Harmonized in D15 and the hype was there. Everyone just rushed into buying. So as you can see, prices of their two-bedder has reached about close to 1.6. Back in Tembusu Grand, right? They are selling a two-bedder cheaper 1.557. And what do we know about harmonized and non-harmonized? Non-harmonized, the size is bigger, right? 667 versus 624. And for Tembusu Grand in particular, their two-bedder layout is slightly more superior compared to EOK. So in this case, it actually makes sense to buy a non-harmonized compared to the super hyped up project of EOK at that point in time.
I just want to add on because we can see that Tembusu Grand's purchase was much earlier at 2023. Maybe EOK is not such a great buy. Maybe as a buyer, if you bought this for investment and you saw that the price is 1.59, maybe you should have think twice. Because your opposite neighbor, no doubt they are non-harmonized, but they are purchased cheaper. We need to bear in mind before we enter, and we cannot just buy into hype. And also one important thing is that during resale times, because by the time EOK, TOP, harmonized projects are still very rare. A lot of people will still not know what is harmonized. Resale buyers come in, when they look at Property Guru, will they still consider a smaller layout if they have certain expectations in mind? My concern is this. A resale buyer come in, they tell themselves, okay, I buy a two-bedroom, I need at least 650 square feet. And they filter Property Guru, 650 square feet and above. Suddenly EOK is not an option because they don't know what's the difference between harmonized and non-harmonized. Buying a harmonized project super early on, in resale times, you definitely will feel some sort of challenges, especially when price is so close. But when there's so much cost savings involved, then I think it's quite safe, like the Zion Grand example. But in this case, buying a harmonized EOK for a two-bedroom at the later date, I don't think is so much of a bargain. Another example would be Lentor Mansion. This is a 3-bedroom. At first glance, this is 1,023 square feet. They're both same size. Hillock is over here, and then Lentor Mansion is over here. Personally, I like Hillock's layout a bit better because it's a bit more squarish. Because I don't like the wastage here and I feel that walkway a bit long over here. 1023 square feet includes these 5.5 square meters of aircon ledge. Actually is quite substantial. The usable space for Lentor Mansion is bigger. But let me ask you, if for this additional 5.5 square meters of usable space is additional $150,000, that translates to $2,500 per square foot. For Lentor area, the transacted PSF is about 2,000 to 2,002. Do you think this is worth it to go for a harmonized project?
In this case, if the cost of upgrade PSF is higher than the average transacted pricing, by right is not so good.
So I think a lot of people also didn't realize about this because Lentor Mansion was the first harmonized project in the Lentor Enclave, and a lot of people also bought into the hype. And I think this was transacted even when the Hillock Green unit was still available. So sometimes there may still be good buys in the post-launch market. It's just that you need to really look for it. So this is the case in point I just mentioned. Lentor Mansion, 26 April, done 2.26 million, thereabout. July 2024, this is after Lentor Mansion was launched. The 2.12 million is still available. That means that Lentor Mansion was actually purchased about $120,000 more compared to Hillock Green. And this is for same floor level and level 3. So this is what we mean by actually post-launches might still have opportunities.
There might be some like gems hidden around. It's just that you need to know how to look out for them.
Of course, if you don't have any people that can advise you on this, please feel free to look for us. That's why we do all these videos. Harmonization is a very, very new concept. We don't have any completed harmonized projects yet. So we want to understand when harmonized projects are completed, how would that affect the resale units around the area? So I have a case study of Pasir Ris 8, which is over here, compared to the nearby resale, which is the enclave over here. Why are we doing this? It's because Pasir Ris 8 is a newer URA regulation kind of layout. This is the new. Then this is the resale. Later, I will show you the different floor plans. It's a very, very interesting case study. So before Pasir Ris 8, the most convenient condo in Pasir Ris would be Coco Palms. Pasir Ris 8, when it was launched, actually it was launched at very, very high prices. In fact, we've heard stories where the 2-bedroom, I think they increased the price 4-5 times.
Around 5 times. And if I'm not wrong, at that point in time, right, Pasir Ris 8 was the first OCR project to hit more than
2K, was it?
2,000
2K PSF. Unheard. I mean, Pasir Ris location, no doubt, is an integrated project, so you pay a premium for that. But for Pasir Ris to pay such a high per square foot,
there was a big hoo-ha that people are still chonging in to buy, even though the price have already increased on the same day many times.
For someone to buy at sky high price, why are they still making such good profits? And the key reason is because of layout. So let's talk about the 3-bedroom for Pasir Ris 8. Is the layout very livable? Yes, actually it is. So this is the smallest 3-bedroom of Pasir Ris 8, 1,023 square feet.
I think it's pretty good, because for this is, I would say, a compact.
Yeah, no yard,
no
storeroom.
Right? Yeah, you can see that the kitchen is properly tucked in one corner. We can see windows in all the kitchen and bathrooms. Yeah, very proper.
Still got one dressing table with window for you there lah.
Right.
I think it's very good. And so that's why they did very well. So 1,023 square feet, they made 500k. When they purchased at 1,006 PSI, 1.6 million, these are unheard prices in Pasir Ris at that time. Then let's look into the resale units in the area. So we have Coco Palms. So Coco Palms, Dines, all these resale units in the area, it belonged to a time where there's a lot of planter boxes. This is in red. Bay windows, planter boxes. Coco Palms 904 square feet, this is the most compact. Dines 936 square feet, this is the most compact. Do you see any issue with these layouts?
Because we all know that planter is technically no use one lah. It takes up space and you can't really use them. And bay window is something that you cannot hack or you cannot say, oh, I want to build storage. It's just a wall. It's like a half wall over there.
They sell you at the show flat, but very nice. They put a small cushion over there so you can sit there and read a book, look at the view, things like that. But more often than not, bay windows compromises your usable space inside. Do you realize that the bedroom tree, to fit a queen size, you need to tuck all the way to the bay window? There's no space beside to put a side table on. More importantly, you see the bedroom too. You can never fit a queen size bed. There's a floor storage over here. They only fit a single bed over here. And this is also true for Dines. Because this whole cluster is developed by the same developer. The design language is similar. All the bay windows are there. Honestly, these features are not that bad as long as it doesn't compromise your usable area. But in this case, I think they do.
It does.
Imagine you have a big family, you have like 2 kids, and your kids want to have their own bedrooms and maybe they want to have a study table. Bedroom 2 for for Coco Palms, suddenly a bit difficult already.
Instead of giving the space to you to play with, you have to think of way to how do I integrate what I want with the bay window, which cannot be removed.
You maybe need to spend a bit more on your ID just to fit into this floor plan. Honestly, before Pasir Ris 8 came about, does this matter? Actually, no, because this was a norm. But the key thing is when Pasir Ris 8 came about and you have this kind of layout, suddenly in resale times, people compare both Coco Palms, Dines and Pasir Ris 8. As long as they can afford, they don't mind. And that's why we see such a good. So why do we want to talk about this? It's because we generally feel that Harmonized projects, they offer the most superior kind of floor plan that we've ever seen in Singapore market. Because Harmonization is a URA guideline that they want to make sure developers build very livable space for consumers like you and me. It's a good thing. It's just that we want to understand, by the time all these Harmonized projects are completed, how will it affect the resale around the area?
Right.
Honestly, if you go and take a look at the capital appreciation potential, Palette, MV Residence, Coco Palms, all these still make very good money from Pasir Ris 8 launch until today. So I'm not saying that you don't make money. Why can they still make a lot of money? It's because Pasir Ris 8 was launched too high already. So today, they will purchase, let's say during COVID times, they just need to sell at Pasir Ris 8 purchase price. And they're sitting on good money.
Right.
But my concern is, if let's say the market is not as vibrant as COVID until now, when you need to sell at a period of time where the market is a bit more muted, how would that affect you? So that's why we have this case study on Commonwealth Towers versus Queen's Peak that Lauren will share more with us.
From what we have seen, the example that Nick has mentioned back in Pasir Ris 8, right? We have seen that for people exiting at that point in time, it's because where the market is still doing very well. So generally, yes, the layout do affect the profitability. Bringing you back to another example, right? Back in before the market was so vibrant, back in 2017, in the Queenstown area, we have Commonwealth Towers and Queen's Peak. They are just side by side. And back in 2017, Commonwealth Towers TOP and Queen's Peak was still building. Queen's Peak actually TOP in 2020. It actually affects the profitability of people exiting their units in Commonwealth Towers. And what do I mean by that? Okay, let's look at Commonwealth Towers one bedder back in 2018. That was before Queen's Peak TOP. We can see that the profitability easily exceed 100,000. When Queen's Peak TOP in 2020, the profitability of these owners holding on to this one bedder suddenly dropped. Let's take a look at the unit mix of Queen's Peak. So Queen's Peak actually have a lot of small units. So small units, am I right to say that would be for investors buying in? They are very price sensitive and they will also want to buy in and exit with a profit if they can. More smaller units will come into the market and the supply will suddenly go very high. So this directly affects your neighbor's price. In 2020, 2020, as you can see, Queen's Peak's one bedder, they are all doing fairly well because it's newer and compared to Commonwealth Towers. Okay, so Commonwealth Towers one bedder profitability actually took a hit. But if you were to look at their bigger unit type, for Commonwealth Towers 3-bedder, the trend is actually opposite. When Queen's Peak TOP in 2020, the profitability of the bigger unit type back in Commonwealth Towers increased. Why is that so? 1-bedder is usually for investors who's looking for a quick gain and probably they want to flip very fast. Whereas most people coming in resale market for 3-bedders would be for own stay. So the layout actually plays a very, very important factor for people looking at the bigger unit types. Let's just break it down. For Commonwealth 3-bedder at 904, you can see that it has a proper enclosed kitchen with a window. And then they have a proper dining area over here. And they also have 3 proper rooms that can fit queen, and then a master standard. Also with a bathroom with windows. This is considered a very, very decent layout that's very livable for small families already. Okay? And at that point in time, no doubt, Queen's Peak is newer. Once it reached TOP, for buyers coming into the resale market, they will be coming in to view your units, right? Let's take a look at their layout, For Queen's Peak, it is well known that they have a very odd-shaped balcony. This is supposedly to form a very cloud-looking facade. But then, ultimately, it didn't work out well, as we can see from the general profitability of Queen's Peak in the whole of the Queenstown area. Okay, it didn't work out well because if you are looking for own stay, when you come in here, the first thing you ask how do I put my zip track? Right? So zip track is straight one, you cannot find an odd shape zip track and nobody will customize it for you. So if you were to put a zip track like that, a lot of space outside already.
I see.
That you can't really use it. And not just that, for their 3-bedroom at 947, right, they even squeeze in a private lift to make it more premium. You are a buyer and you come in, first thing you are greeted by a very big foyer and a galley kitchen for a 3-bedder. So for families, to me, a galley kitchen is a no-no. Once you start cooking here, your whole house will smell. So what's the point of having a private lift but an open kitchen? And when you come in here, your kitchen, your dining area is also in the middle of nowhere. Do you realize that all their common rooms can only fit a single size bed? And to be honest, I'm really shocked at the layout there. No doubt they want to put it like a very iconic, with this kind of balcony looking building. But for a bigger bedroom type, when people are thinking of staying inside, the livability, the functionality of the whole layout matters. Even though Queen's Peak is newer, upon TOP, when people come to view Queen's Peak, naturally they will look at Commonwealth Towers because they are just side by side. And then that's why we see this kind of movement in Commonwealth Towers profitability in their bigger bedroom type. In this case, we can see that layout actually matters a lot. And of course, if you are staying near a project that's going to TOP soon, you must be very careful of your competitive edge against them. And that will actually determine when to exit, maximize your profitability.
I also want to add on, right? Because 1-bedroom is very difficult for layouts to be very different because it's just a physical bedroom and a living room. That's why when Queen's Peak was completed, people find that it's just 1-bedroom. So the layout is about the same. That's why newer might be better. And that's why demand went over there. But for 3-bedroom, actually a lot can be very different. And that's why Commonwealth Towers, you see much more capital appreciation after Queen's Peak was completed. And one other litmus test you can try is that when you want to see this project, right, just go to Property Guru and you find out how many listings are for sale for these 3-bedrooms. I can guarantee, I think Commonwealth Towers will have far fewer listings of the 3-bedroom for sale compared to Queen's Peak because Queen's Peak owners are having a much more difficult time to sell because of the layout differences.
I find that if you're looking at the bigger unit type, the layout really plays a very, very important part. So next, I just want to bring you to this very, very beautifully done layout. And do you know where this is?
I don't know.
It is also at Queenstown and it's the newest kid in town, Penrith. Yes, and of course Penrith is a Harmonized and it is also the first Harmonized project back in Queenstown. For their compact 3-bedder, they have a proper tuck-in kitchen with windows and they also have windows in all their bathroom. All their common bedrooms can fit a queen size with cabinets. Because for some, if you realize, they put a queen size but they don't build in the cabinet for you.
That's not fair.
And you will have a proper dining and a proper living. So this is their 3-bedroom compact at only 786 square feet.
Very crazy.
It's really crazy for them to have this kind of beautiful layout. It's so livable. If this unit were to go out in the resale market next time when it TOP, If you're staying around Queenstown, holding on to Commonwealth Towers or Queen's Peak, will you be scared or not?
I think I would be. Yeah.
Yeah, I would be also lah. I mean, like this layout is too good for this kind of size. Looking back at Queen's Peak 3-bedder with a galley kitchen, their size is already 947.
Yeah, with 936 square feet, harmonized. I think the Queen's Peak people, if you still haven't sell, you should really resell before Penrith TOP. We have come to the end of our presentation. So today, why are we doing this video? Is because all of the projects moving forward will be harmonized projects. We want to discuss with you how harmonization affects you. Actually, it affects everybody. Even if you're someone who is owning a property, and let's say next door you're going to have a new harmonized project that's going to launch soon. We want to share with you exactly how would that affect you. It might not affect you right now, today, but when the harmonized projects TOP and they're completed, I'm definitely sure that it will affect your price, especially if you belong to the era where you got a lot of bay windows, planter boxes, odd shape, and maybe your common bedroom cannot fit all queen size bed. These are all the signals that you should reconsider your options now before they're completed.
Yes, and because we can see that your exit timing actually matters a lot before and after the newer projects around your development TOP, right?
And of course, market good, everybody benefit because you buy low, you sell higher, still cheap, definitely still make money. But the key concern is this. The key concern is today we are in an all-time high market, both in resale and new launch. What if today you choose to buy a resale project because it's a bit cheaper, but the layout is not as good? What if the market corrects? Next door, you might have a new launch, harmonized project. Will that affect your profitability next time? I think it will, based on our findings today. So all these things are huge concerns. If you're someone looking to buy a unit, if you're owning something, also consider your options moving forward, because harmonization will definitely affect everybody. Yeah. If not, I think we've come to the end. We hope you have learned a lot. If these are something new to you, please subscribe to our channel. And if you have any thoughts, please leave your comments down below. We'll be very, very happy to see your comments. If not, we'll see you in the next one.